Most people live their lives believing they are in control, that their choices are their own and that their daily actions reflect conscious decisions. But the truth is, for the overwhelming majority of us, life is not something we control, it is something that happens to us. We wake up every day and fall into patterns that repeat endlessly, shaped by external forces we don't fully understand. From the moment we're born, we are taught how to behave, what to believe, and what to value. These teachings come from our parents, our schools, our culture, and the society we live in. They shape our goals, our fears, our habits, and even the way we see ourselves. Little by little, we internalize these influences, and they become so deeply ingrained in us that we stop questioning them. We go through life reacting to situations, chasing after goals we didn't choose, and living according to a script we didn't write. This is what it means to live unconsciously, and it's how 99% of people live. The scary thing about this is that most people will never even realize it. They will spend their entire lives thinking they are free, all the while being controlled by forces they don't see and don't understand.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Imagine for a moment that you're standing on a conveyor belt. You don't remember stepping onto it, but it's moving, carrying you forward. You're not sure where it's taking you, but you don't stop to question it. You look around and see that everyone else is on their own conveyor belts too, so it feels normal. You tell yourself that this is just how life works. But what if you could step off? What if you could stop, look around and decide for yourself where you want to go? Most people never do this. They stay on the conveyor belt, following the path that was laid out for them, not because it's what they truly want, but because it feels easier, safer, and more familiar. This is what living unconsciously looks like. It's going through the motions, doing what's expected, and never stopping to take control of your own life. But the truth is, the conveyor belt isn't taking you where you want to go. It's taking you where someone else decided you should go. And if you don't step off, you'll never know what's possible. One of the biggest reasons most people don't control their own lives is because they've never stopped to question their beliefs. From a young age, we are taught what's right and wrong, what's good and bad, what's possible and impossible. These beliefs become the foundation of how we see the world and how we see ourselves. But what if those beliefs are wrong? What if the things you've been taught to value aren't actually aligned with who you are? What if the limits you think exist are only there because you believe in them? For example, many people grow up believing that success means making a lot of money, getting a good job, and climbing the social ladder. They spend their entire lives chasing these things, only to realize too late that they don't bring true happiness or fulfillment. Why? Because they never stopped to question whether those goals were their own, or whether they were just following the script that society handed them. The same is true for fears and insecurities. How many of the things you're afraid of are based on reality, and how many are based on beliefs that someone else gave you? Maybe you're afraid of failure because you were taught that failing means you're not good enough. Maybe you're afraid of speaking up because you were taught that your voice doesn't matter. These beliefs shape your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your life, and until you question them, they will continue to control you. Another reason most people don't control their own lives is because of habits. Our brains are wired to create routines. It's an efficient way to conserve energy and focus on what's important. But the problem is, many of our habits are not consciously chosen. They're the result of conditioning, repetition, and the environment we're in. Over time, these habits become automatic and we stop thinking about them. We wake up, check our phones, go to work, come home, watch TV and go to bed, repeating the same cycle day after day. We don't stop to ask if these habits are helping us or holding us back. And because they're so ingrained, they feel like a natural part of who we are. But they're not. They're just patterns. And patterns can be changed. One of the most insidious ways that people lose control of their lives is through distraction. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information, entertainment, and stimulation. Social media, streaming platforms, video games, news feeds. There's always something demanding our attention. And because our brains are wired to seek novelty and avoid discomfort, we fall into the trap of We spend hours scrolling, watching, and consuming, all the while avoiding the deeper questions about our lives. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What do I really want? Am I living in alignment with my values? These questions are uncomfortable, so we distract ourselves instead. But the cost of distraction is high. It keeps us stuck in the 99%, living passively, reacting to the world around us instead of taking control. To take control of your life, you first have to become aware of the forces that are controlling you. You have to become aware of the beliefs, habits, and distractions that are shaping your decisions. This isn't easy because many of these forces operate below the surface of your conscious mind. They're like invisible strings, pulling you in different directions without you even realizing it. But once you become aware of them, you can start to cut those strings. You can start to take back control. The first step is to question everything. Question your beliefs, question your habits, question your goals. Why do you believe what you believe? Where did those beliefs come from? Are they based on truth or are they just assumptions? Why do you do what you do? Are your habits serving you or are they holding you back? Why are you chasing the goals you're chasing? Are they truly aligned with your values or are they just what society told you to want? Questioning is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront the possibility that you've been living in ways that don't serve you. But it's also liberating because it gives you the power to choose a different path. The second step is to take responsibility. This means accepting that your life is the way it is because of the choices you've made, consciously or unconsciously. It's easy to blame external factors, your upbringing, your circumstances, other people, for the way things are. But as long as you're blaming something outside of yourself, you're giving away your power. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself or feeling guilty. It means recognizing that you have the ability to change your life. It means owning your choices and taking control of your future. This is what separates the 1% from the 99%. The 1% don't wait for things to change, they take responsibility for creating change. The third step is to take action. Awareness and responsibility are important, but they're not enough on their own. To take control of your life, you have to act. This means breaking free from old habits, creating new ones, and making deliberate choices every day. It means setting goals that are aligned with your values and taking consistent steps toward them. It means saying no to distractions and yes to the things that truly matter. This isn't about making huge, dramatic changes overnight. It's about small, intentional actions that add up over time. It's about being consistent and persistent, even when it's hard. The 1% are not superhuman. They're people who have chosen to take responsibility for their lives and take action, even when it's uncomfortable. Most people will never do this. They will stay in the 99%, living on autopilot, following the path of least resistance and letting life happen to them. But that doesn't have to be you. You have the power to take control of your life. You have the power to question your beliefs, change your habits, and make deliberate choices that align with your values. This is not easy, but it's worth it, because when you take control of your life, you stop being a victim of circumstances, you become the creator of your reality, and that is the ultimate freedom. Breaking free from the matrix of your own mind begins with understanding that the way you've been living is largely a construct. Everything you believe about yourself, your capabilities, and the world around you has been shaped by external influences: your upbringing, culture, society, and the media. These influences create a kind of mental framework, a matrix that defines your perception of reality. It dictates what you think is possible, what you think is valuable, and what you think you deserve. But this framework isn't real. It's just a story. And like any story, it can be rewritten. The problem is that most people don't even realize they're living inside this construct. They accept the rules and limitations of their mental framework without questioning them. They believe the story they've been told about who they are and what they can do. They don't realize that the limits they see are not real. They are self-imposed. To break free, you have to first see the matrix for what it is. You have to recognize that the thoughts and beliefs you've been living by are not absolute truths. They are just mental constructs, and like any construct, they can be torn down and rebuilt. Start by observing your thoughts. Pay attention to the patterns in your thinking. Notice how often you tell yourself, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "that's just the way it is." These thoughts feel real because they've been repeated so many times, but they are not facts. They are beliefs, and beliefs can be changed. For example, if you've always believed you're bad at something, say speaking in public, ask yourself where that belief came from. Was it based on a single experience, like messing up a presentation in school? Did someone else plant that belief in your mind, like a teacher or parent who told you you weren't good at it? Once you identify the source of the belief, you can start to question its validity. Is it really true that you're bad at public speaking, or is it just a story you've been telling yourself? The more you question your limiting beliefs, the more you'll realize how arbitrary they are. And once you see them as arbitrary, you can begin to let them go. Another way the matrix of your mind keeps you trapped is through fear. Fear is one of the most powerful tools the mind uses to keep you in your comfort zone. It tells you that stepping outside of what's familiar is dangerous, that taking risks will lead to failure, rejection, or pain. But fear is rarely based on reality. It's a projection of your mind, a defense mechanism designed to keep you safe. The problem is, it doesn't distinguish between real threats and imagined ones. It treats stepping outside your comfort zone as if it's a life or death situation, even when it's not. To break free from the matrix, you have to learn to recognize fear for what it is, a mental construct, not a reality. Instead of letting fear control you, use it as a guide. When you feel fear, it's often a sign that you're on the edge of growth, that you're about to do something that will expand your comfort zone. Lean into that fear, and you'll find that it loses its power over you. One of the most effective ways to break free from the matrix is to become aware of the stories you tell yourself about who you are. These stories are the core of your mental framework. They define your identity, your capabilities, and your potential. But, like any story, they are not set in stone. they can be rewritten. For example, if you've always seen yourself as someone who isn't disciplined, you might have a story in your mind that goes something like this. I've never been good at sticking to habits. I always start things and then give up. That's just who I am. This story feels real because it's based on your past experiences, but it's not the only story you can tell. You can choose to tell a new story. I am someone who is learning to build discipline. Every day I'm getting better at following through on my commitments. I am capable of change. The more you repeat this new story, the more it becomes your reality. This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending to be something you're not. It's about choosing to focus on the version of yourself you want to become rather than the version you've been in the past. Another key to breaking free is to stop living reactively. Most people spend their lives reacting to the world around them, reacting to what other people say, reacting to circumstances, reacting to their emotions. They let their environment dictate their actions, rather than taking deliberate control of their choices. To break free, you have to shift from being reactive to being intentional. This means taking a step back from the chaos of daily life and asking, what do I want to create? What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to live? Once you have a clear vision of what you want, you can start making deliberate choices that align with that vision. This might mean saying no to things that don't serve you, even if they're comfortable or familiar. It might mean setting boundaries with people who drain your energy or distract you from your goals. It might mean taking risks and stepping into the unknown. Living intentionally is not easy. It requires effort, discipline, and a willingness to face discomfort, but it's the only way to truly take control of your life. Another important aspect of breaking free is learning to manage your focus. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with distractions, social media, emails, notifications, endless streams of entertainment. These distractions are designed to capture your attention and keep you hooked, and they are incredibly effective at doing so. But every moment you spend distracted is a moment you're not living intentionally. It's a moment you're giving away to forces outside of your control. To break free, you have to take back control of your attention. This means being intentional about what you focus on and eliminating distractions that don't serve you. It might mean setting boundaries with technology, like turning off notifications or limiting your time on social media. It might mean creating a daily routine that prioritizes your most important goals and eliminates unnecessary noise. Whatever it looks like for you, the key is to recognize that your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Where you focus your attention determines the quality of your life. If you let it be hijacked by distractions, you'll stay stuck in the 99%. But if you take control of it, you can start to create the life you truly want. Finally, breaking free from the matrix requires self-discipline. This is one of the hardest parts because it means going against the path of least resistance. It means doing the hard things, even when you don't feel like it. It means keeping promises to yourself even when it's uncomfortable. Self-discipline is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about consistently showing up for yourself and doing the work even when it's hard. It's about building habits that support your goals and sticking to them, even when it's inconvenient. The truth is, self-discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you're at the mercy of your impulses, your emotions, and your environment. But with it, you can take control of your life and create anything you want. Breaking free from the matrix of your own mind is not easy. It requires awareness, effort, and a willingness to face discomfort. It requires questioning everything you've been taught, letting go of old beliefs and building new ones. It requires taking responsibility for your life and making deliberate choices every day. Most people will never do this. They will stay in the 99%, living reactively, following the path of least resistance and letting life happen to them. But if you're willing to do the work, you can break free, you can take control of your life, you can become the 1%.